Good evening, everybody. Hello and welcome to a reasonably short stream this evening because I've actually got unfortunate things to go and do IRL later. But I thought I'd log in and at least get the Night's Calling main story quest for Heavensward out of the way, which involves us going to the vault, which is level 57 dungeon, and it is one that a lot of people find quite challenging, especially if you are a healer. As a healer, it is a pretty difficult dungeon, to be honest. Don't know what the queue time is going to be like. We're repaired enough, let's put it that way. Yeah, the vault features quite a few heavy trash pulls. There's a couple of ways that you can speed through a little bit of it. But most importantly, the final boss is a bit challenging for a lot of people. There are a few mechanics that hit you all at once, and people that tunnel vision may find that a tad challenging. Shouldn't take very long anyway. I've been continuing in my quest to find a new mechanical keyboard, one that will be a little bit quieter. And so far I've not had much joy with that, which is a shame. It is proving a bit of a nightmare, to be honest. I'm currently using a, what is this, a Razer Black Widow Ultimate. I think this is the 2014 edition, something like that. So it's a tad old. Why is that up there? What even is that? What does that class as notices? Why is that not down there anymore? What was I saying? Yeah, Black Widow Ultimate. Lovely keyboard. Really, really pleasurable to type on, but very noisy, which for me, doing my writing or planning lessons for teaching or whatever, anything that requires a reasonable amount of time at the keyboard, it's great. Oh, really? That's more like it. But the keys are very, very clacky, and unfortunately the Yeti microphone is sensitive enough to pick that up. As I've said several times, I love stuff with kind of religious themes to them. I'm a big fan of religion and mythology and the things that it makes people do. Also, organ music. Right, what have we got? We've got a scholar healer, we've got a dragoon, and we've got a summoner. I'm assuming that we are going to get some protection, and I'm going to eat some flatbread. Okay, there's a few bundles of trash that are going to appear here. I do not like to pull too many packs straight away. Where's that dragoon? Oh, there he is. He's hiding. Yeah, I don't like to pull too many packs straight away in this dungeon because I like to be able to see what the DPS are like, and so on and so forth. I won't say this dungeon requires a huge amount of concentration, but I'm starting to practice on Dark Knight now, especially with these larger trash pulls, and especially now I've got more abilities to use. I've done another few rejigs of my sound settings. Hopefully hopefully the music on the and sound on the stream is not overwhelming. Some defensive cooldowns. So it's, as I've said I think before, it's not hard to grab AoE threat on these packs as a Dark Knight because you've got plenty of tools at your disposal. You've got Dark Arts into Abyssal Drain, which gives you a good chunk of threat. You've got Dark Arts to Dark Passenger for a little bit of mitigation, as long as you can line it up properly, because it is a column AoE. You've got Salted Earth, which again offers you some AoE control. And you've got Unleash. So realistically, as a Dark Knight, you should not be losing AoE threat. Assuming you can see through the big ball, the big blue. Can I say the big blue balls of death? That sounds a little bit weird, doesn't it? Let's go with domes. The blue domes of death. Because otherwise, I'm talking about blue balls on stream, and yeah. This coffer here is just some potions or consumables. First boss. You'll notice that this is one of the members of the Heavensward, Sir Adelphil. He's a paladin. But this is not the real boss. This is as soon as you get this guy down to, was it 25%? Something like that. 30% apparently. He'll do this and turn into a big monster through the power of belief. And he will cast a variety of attacks, including Holiest of Holy, which is a room-wide AoE. Heavenly Slash, which is a conal cleave. And then he'll mark somebody and go for a Holy Shield Bash and knock them over like that, then braver them. So it's a good idea if you are the healer to watch out for whoever it is that gets targeted with that. The ability that tends to mess most people though is coming up in a second. It's this one. There's some shiny balls in path. And basically you want to put yourself roughly where the very first one was, and then just avoid the rest. It's not that hard, but I see a lot of people mess it up. A lot. Now, as I said, this dungeon is a little bit harsh on the healers. You can see our healer there has already got very little MP left. Which is one of the reasons why I have not dipped out of grit. Anything you can do to help the healers out in this dungeon is generally appreciated. It's certainly not one that healers will tend to queue into. That attack there is where he's going to go and land. So ideally you don't want to be... That's time to raise that YOLO dude who decided to die on us again. You now owe me a free cookie. Yes. And that's the first boss down. It takes a couple of seconds for him to decide that he's beaten. Just as Sir Sharibear says. Sir Sharibear was the ninja guy that we fought in the solo instance before this. Some red mage boots. A healer ring. I do not want any of these. I want tank loot. Right, this corridor, you want to make sure that everybody's with you. Especially your healer. Stay. Well, I don't know why they're running ahead. Right, there's two ways of doing this. You can rush the guy at the end. Guys, do you think I might be standing here for a reason? You know, out of the line of fire of the other one. Seriously, I don't think people have got a rational brain in their heads in this game sometimes. Why is the tank standing in the corner over here when there's some guy firing at us? And they're still standing out there. And the reason I'm standing out here is because when you run up to this guy here, there are two more around the corner. Ooh. Always out of range then. I really miss Shadow Skin. I miss the animation for it. But I know Rampart's essentially the same ability, but yeah, it doesn't have the same theme to it, the same feel to it. Right, and in here, got a treasure coffer, but we've also got two enemies. Got Tweedledum and Tweedledee. These two, just like all of the other Dullahan style armour mobs that we've faced in the game, they've got a nasty cleave attack, and they've also got their big self-buff thing. They've also got Black Nebula, which is a room-wide AoE, which we haven't seen in these things before. Ooh, hello. yeah, they're not really any tougher than previous mobs of their type. They do look cool though. I should probably have done that. And this will open up the lift. Right, this pathway has some new mobs in. It's got some old mobs as well. It's got these guys here. Yeah, so we can kill these pretty straightforward. These are monk types, that's a paladin type. Oh. It's the one bad thing about having to have the voice turned up for cutscenes. Now, around the corner here, we've got the White Knight and the Black Knight. These two have got nasty column AoEs. And I'm still not entirely sure which of them you're supposed to really kill first. I think as long as you focus one of them, it doesn't matter. They can be stunned. We're about to face off against Sir Grinno, who you may remember from one of the pretty early on cutscenes that we did, where we had to defend, well, we had to do a trial by combat, didn't we? We actually get to fight Sir Grinno now, and his fight, again, is mechanically
I'll cut you to pieces!
So he casts Overpower, which obviously is just like the warrior version, which is a nice cleave. He's got a Reeve attack, which is a throwback to 1.0, which is a very narrow. You're going to get yourself hit there.
I will not yield to you!
He'll knock you back, just like that. Turn into a big glowy version of himself. He'll make a nice He-Man reference. And yeah, now he'll start to do some pretty nasty abilities. Hyperdimensional Rift will it's a really wide column, and you can cast that several times. And at the end of it, it'll summon a when it hits the wall, it summons a big glowy rift thing. You don't want to be standing near that. It will cause damage over time to you, and I think it slows you as well. You also don't want to be stood in that.
Down with you!
Generally speaking, you don't want to be stood in any AoEs in this game. You also want to make sure that you don't have your back to one of those, because when he does his Faith and Moving move, which knocks you back, this one, in fact, that's the tether that it puts on you. Try and keep her in the middle if you can. That dimensional rip will disappear after a while.
Down with you!
Yes, there's a lot of thing out where to stand. And of course these room-wide AoE things are deliberately designed don't stand in the direction of it, don't stand next to me. You do have time when you cast Faith Removal to get somewhere else, but yeah, basically it requires a good chunk of movement on the part of everybody in this fight, and that obviously causes issues. Put that on. Dragoon gear, caster gear. Right, there's another one of these around the corner. If you've got great DPS, then you can kill them both together. But you don't have to. You're probably going to face both of them eventually. For great justice. I've got no more stun left. Dope. Okay, there are another two of those knight mobs in here. There's also a treasure chest over there. They aggro from further out than your ranged pull, so you want to get ready to pick them up as you're running in. Yeah, itchy head. But yeah, as a whole, the Vault is a dungeon that requires paying attention to where you're standing, I think, on most people's behalves. And that's not necessarily something that you've had to do much of in Heavensward, but you'll certainly have to do more of in the dungeons at the end of the expansion. Right, this is the bit that people struggle with. Incidentally, if you're a Dark Knight and you've got a White Mage with you, you probably won't be able to do what I'm doing, because they have a tendency to stun things while you want to be blood pricing, which means you're not going to be getting your MP back. Another coffer here. Just some dye. Right, this guy in here looks like he's on his own. Well, he is on his own technically, but he is also surrounded by these statues. I think at about 50% it is, something like that. He will start. Ooh, no, maybe not 50%. 25%? Yeah, there we go. You can't stun him out of this, so. Right, these gargoyles do a reasonable amount of damage. They're not super threatening, but they do have Terror Eye, which puts little AoE circles on the ground, like this. Oh, Horror Eye, sorry. It's not called Terror Eye. So again, dodging. Dodging the AoEs. It's understanding, even with a noise gate on voice meter, it picks up the keyboard quite horrendously. Okay, this is the final boss, and he is a bit of a pain in the arse. Get a little bit of a cutscene first of us running up to him. This is Sherry Bear. And you can see the Archbishop and Zephyrin escaping. Right, there's lots to do in this fight. Let's just make sure. Okay.
Filthy rats!
So, as per normal, pull him, turn him. You'll notice he hits quite hard. These Heavensward things, as soon as he finishes the cast time, you can stand in the things that he leaves over. Holy Chain will tether two people together. You want those two people to split as far away from each other as you can, because it will damage both. You'll also summon lines of these things. You want to be standing between them, you do not want to get hit by them.
Sickness must be
If you do, you get slowed, I think. So you do want to keep a constant eye out for that, because there's no... he doesn't have a cast time for them, if I remember correctly, so they just appear.
Be done with you!
Then he will disappear.
And now the final curtain!
Right, so this is where a time when you can quite happily drop grit, because this is just a DPS check. You want to kill off as many of these holy flames as you can. Because once he's finished doing his little casty thing, he will do damage based on how many there are of them left.
This shall be a mercy. You
As you can
disgust
see,
me.
it already takes... it deals quite a lot of damage as it is.
Sickness must be purged.
There we go. He'll start double dipping
Be
on
done
these
with
as
you!
well. So there will be a lot of, again, paying attention and moving around things. That's what you get. You get a slow
Sickness must be
bleed
purged.
if you get hit by one of the knights, and it's quite nasty. Hard to heal through. So if you're tanking, you want to do as much as you can to help your healer out. If you are DPSing, you want to be prioritising movement, getting out of the way of things, rather than your fat DPS.
Be done with you! Sickness must be purged.
See, these guys are not moving far enough apart.
sickness must be purged.
Indeed. A tricksy boss. And as I say, quite difficult for a lot of healers. Ooh, great sword. Yes, please. Good job. We'll take that. Thanks all. That will have gone into... Got the trousers as well. Cool. The model for the greatsword is really nice. I like it. So shall we bear ass kicked? Okay. What happens next?
Our power! How can this be? Fall back!
They've got an airship. After them. Run faster, warrior of light. Run faster. Oh, the whole gang's here.
Father, please!
We were not too late, my friend.
Ah, are you sure about that?
Why must you do this, Father? Nidhogg is fallen. There is no need for further deception. Now is the time to renounce the lies which led us down this path. To start anew!
And tear down the very pillars of our society? Our history? Our values? Everything we have built over 1,000 years? A fool to the last.
Oh shit. No! I've forgotten about this bit. No!
Look out!
No, 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 no.
Go. Asisla awaits.
Shit. I thought that happened later.
Lord Orchefon!
Damn.
You are unharmed? Forgive me. I could not bear the thought of... Oh, do not look at me so. A smile better suits a hero.
Yeah. I remember the first time, or the only other time really, that I saw that, you know, when I was back in 2015 when I was playing this content through. I knew that Square Enix killed off characters, likeable characters. I like Moonbreeder, as I said in the 2.x stuff, and obviously there is a history of Square Enix killing off likeable characters in the series as a whole. But Ffxiv was one of those characters that was, you know, we spent so much time going back to him in the kind of level 35 to 40-ish stuff, and then again in the later 2.x stuff. And you kind of thought that he'd be a fixture, or that he'd at least make it to the end of the expansion. But no. So that is the death of Ffxiv, which resounded quite well with the community, well as in the sense that they had the appropriate emotional response to it. There was a lot of shock, there was a lot of, oh my god, they've killed Ffxiv, because he was a really well liked character. There was something about his personality and his writing and his kind of continued optimism that really spoke to people. And I think it, as a storyteller, I think, as much as it pains me to say this, I think it was a good time and a good piece of writing to kill him off, because he was a well-loved character. And when you've got a hero like the Warrior of Light, who is basically invincible, you do need to remind that people can die and that there are tragedies. Moonbreeder was the first real example in the game of that. There was the kind of fake out with the Sultana. And you thought, oh well, they've killed the tiny potato, and it gets you to thinking, well, anybody could die, you know. So Emmerich could die. Ffxiv did die. What kind of effect is that going to have on his father, on his half brothers? I'm just going to say it's not the only death we're going to see before the end of the expansion. But as kind of shocking and saddening as the death of Ffxiv is, we did get a little bit of extra information in that cutscene, which is the mention of where the Archbishop was going, which is a place called Aziz La, which I've actually mentioned before. I've not talked about, I've mentioned it by name. The heroes don't know what Aziz La is, and we are going to find out a little bit later. I know not what to say. The others, they are gathering at Fort Aunt Manor. But yeah, bit of a shock. Bit of a shock, that. Right, and just before I continue on with this, I'm just going to nip to the loo. Right. Okay. Where were we? Oh yes. See, he's not saying welcome this time. The others are. Please enter, Mistress Thornley.
Don't. Please. A knight lives to serve, to protect, to sacrifice. There is no greater calling.
Is it just me, or does he sound like he's trying to convince himself?
Leave me to mourn and give chase. For my son, and for the nation he loved. Go!
His sacrifice shall not be forgotten.
Time straight.
Son.
Them feels. I could not stand there in silence, but when all others had forsaken us, Lord Horsefont took us in, our beacon of hope in a world of darkness. He did his utmost to raise our spirits so that we might face our troubles with courage, with conviction, so that we might face them as knights. We must press on with our mission. Tataru, pray return to your duties at the Forgotten Knight. Let us go and speak with Sir Emmerich. I worry for his well-being. Yeah, he wasn't looking great, was he? He had a bit of a knock.
My friends, I am in your debt.
Think nothing of it. Your wounds are healing well, I trust.
Some wounds do not heal.
Indeed. Ooh. Echo time. Oh, this is him pleading his case with the Archbishop.
The founding. The scriptures, 1,000 years of lies, all to deceive the common man. Nay, our own brothers and sisters. For the blood of the Knights 12 flows within all our veins. You knew this to be true. You knew, and you concealed it.
Yes.
I should be interested to hear how you came by this knowledge. But yes, you have the right of it. The architects of Ishgard, King Thordan and his Knights 12, entrapped and butchered the great worm, Ratatosker, that they might partake of her eyes and thereby transcend their mortal limits.
Limit break.
Upon learning of their treachery, Nidhogg was consumed with a murderous and justified rage. I dare say you know what followed.
The great worm slew the king and half of his knights.
Aye, but Nidhogg was subdued, and his eyes plucked from their sockets by the knights that remained.
So where's the other
Their
one?
one mistake was to show mercy. For from his brother Hreisvelger did Nidhogg receive a new eye, thus rejuvenating his form and empowering him to embark upon an eternal quest for vengeance.
Whilst Thordan's son Haldreth took one of Nidhogg's eyes and learned to wield its power in defense of his people.
Thus was the first Azure Dragoon born, and ever since that time, His honored successors have risen to drive Nidhogg from our lands whenever the worm has returned to plague us.
But where's the other eye?
I ask you, my son, will you answer for my sins? Will your son and his son answer for me as well?
What do you mean?
If a man cannot atone for his sins in the course of his all too fleeting life, must his progeny then be held to account? Must every subsequent generation be judged as well? Thorin's betrayal of Ratatoskr was an unconscionable, unforgivable sin.
Indeed, but should they, 1,000 years later?
Should we then, as his descendants, meekly surrender ourselves to an eternity of punishment?
He makes a good point.
Nay, say I. I would not see our children sacrificed in a vain attempt to appease an implacable foe. Dragons are not like us, my son. To they who live forever, the wrongs of antiquity are as those of yesterday. No reparations shall ever suffice. This fact alone should serve as ample justification for our actions. Yet some refuse to see it as such. For men like you, who yearn to commit themselves to a nobler cause, a more compelling narrative is required.
This is your solution. This is how you protect our people. You have given us a lost cause, a death sentence. With your compelling narrative, you but doom our countrymen to give their lives for a lie.
And they do so gladly. Highborn and lowborn alike are proud to serve, to fight and die for their country. And what would you say to them? What would you tell the wives who have lost their husbands? The mothers who have lost their sons? That their loved ones died for naught? Over the course of 1,000 years, countless men have donned these robes, and every one of them came to accept the necessity of this solution. Once, I hoped you might come to accept it as well. Do not despair, my son. Soon I shall free us from the sins of antiquity.
Ah, so he has a plan.
Bring about the change you so fervently desire. If he has spoken with others, I would have their names. Escort him to a cell and question him thoroughly.
Your Eminence.
Well, at least we know how that went down.
You saw something, did you not? A vision of the past?
Yep.
So this is the power of the Echo. Would that it had shown you a finer moment from my past. 'Twas an exercise in futility, as you saw. Faced with the firmity of his conviction and his many ready rejoinders, my words deserted me. To be frank, I am embarrassed to recall it.
A friend once impressed upon me the importance of differentiating between words, deeds, and beliefs. Were he here, I suspect he would judge your father's conviction to be no more than rank self-serving delusion.
I don't know.
Even so, I cannot help but wonder what manner of change he intends to bring about.
I've given some thought to that as well. During the battle within the vault, the Heavensward demonstrated strange and unnatural abilities.
Aye, the manner in which Sir Zephyrin struck down Lord Ffxiv was unlike anything I've ever seen before.
But we have.
The spectacle called to mind King Thordan and his Knights 12 as they are depicted in scripture, holy powers and all.
Mere fabrications, which have become objects of faith, instilled with the belief of countless devoted souls.
A little bit
Seven
like
hells!
penny drops.
If Lady Iceheart can use her own body as a vessel for summoning, I see no reason why others could not.
Are the Heavensward truly so reckless?
Unbelievable!
As they fled, my father spoke of Azis La. Though I know not what he intends, I fear no good shall come of it. His ambitions are too great, and his minions too powerful. We must find the Heavensward and stop my father before it is too late.
Nod, nod, nod. The question is, what and where is Azis La? Mistress Thornley, Master Alphino, I, Emmerich, Lord Commander of the Temple Knights of Ishgard, do hereby entreat the aid of the Scions of the Seventh Dawn. Our aid in preventing whatever it is the Archbishop intends? Your aid in bringing him to justice. Too much blood has been spilled for the lies he perpetuated. No more. Yes. I am not happy. Yes, yes, of course. You two are close, I know. Much has changed since our Order's founding, but our duty to combat the primal threat has not. If the Archbishop and the Heavensward are guilty of the crime of summoning, then Demajen and I will stop them. Would that I could join you in this pursuit, but alas, my father's absence has thrown our government into chaos. Ever since the founding of our nation, there has been an archbishop to serve as a guiding light for the masses, a force for stability to counterbalance the High House's ceaseless manoeuvring. Convincing the people to recognise the truth of our origins would have been difficult even with my father's support. The road ahead is that much more fraught with peril without it. Yet walk it we must, for unity is more vital to our survival than ever. After all, Nidog's death did not mark the cessation of Drevanian hostilities. Far from it. We will have great need of each other in the days to come. You may ever count on my lance, Sir Emmerich. To my dying breath I shall defend Ishgard from the Horde. If I may, Lord Commander, I would like to assist the Scions in their search for the Archbishop. Demajen, Master Alphino, pray attend me outside. Very well. With me. I believe we have much to discuss. That is an understatement. You say you want a revolution. Does that give us a new title? Yes, yes it does. Oh, of the Silver Fuller. That is... That's Ffxiv's name. In search of the Soleil. Soleil? The Soleil was eastward bound, so I sent word to Camp Cloudtop. Oh, I got it right. on the off chance the airship passed nearby. The Soleil is the Archbishop's airship. Sure enough, Lady Laniette informed me that it had been sighted by her scouts. Then the Archbishop... Oh, sorry, that's Alpha now. Then the Archbishop is somewhere in the Sea of Clouds. Or was, not long ago. The airship has not been seen since it disappeared into the northern reaches near the Blue Window. Alas, because the region is firmly held by the Vanu Vanu and not easily accessible from Camp Cloudtop, House Helenar has yet to establish a foothold. We will need not only an airship, but a captain bold enough to risk the Beastman's wrath. Ooh, I wonder if we know one of those. So this is going to take us to the upper part of the Sea of Clouds that we couldn't get to before. I think we both know the perfect candidate, Demajen. Let's pay a visit to Master Garland at the Skysteel Manufactory. I see. Then I will take my leave for now. There are other matters which require my attention. Okay, so let us go to Sid and see what he has for us. Sid. Ah, the dastardly duo. What mischief have you two been getting up to lately? You haven't heard, have you? I hardly know where to start. He was a good man. Sid, have you heard of Aziz La? The Archbishop spoke of it before he fled. No, but it's probably some sort of phenomenal cosmic power that's key to his plans. From what he told Demajen, the Ascians tried to tempt him as they tempted Gaius with the ultimate weapon. Even if he spoke true about playing along, I can see him attempting to seize it. As if we needed another reason to pursue him. Well, I'm convinced. The Enterprise is at your disposal. Come to the airship landing when you're ready to depart. Simple as that. Huh. It's just as well. After pulling you out of the fire these last few times, I reckon it was due to deliver you into it. Right, into the blue. Into the fire it is. In that case, I should inform Totoro of our plans. Pray, go on ahead to the airship landing. I shall join you anon. That'll. Do 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 do. The boys have been hard at work preparing for our flight, and I'm pleased to say we're ready to depart. Hey. That is, as soon as a certain... Pray forgive my lateness. He says this a lot. Totoro and I had much to discuss. We still have no news of the missing science, but she assures me that Urianger and Riel are pursuing promising leads. Come, come, we can continue this discussion aboard the Enterprise. We are, however, quite some way off from Azislar, if I remember correctly. The others are waiting for you aboard the Enterprise. Shall we get going? Guess so.
To the northern reaches of the Sea of Clouds, where countless isles yet remained uncharted. In search of a mysterious land known as Azislar, and the unmasked villain who sought to claim its secrets. Oblivious to the new threat which followed in their wake, they came.
The new threat which followed in their wake? What's that then? From here, Camp Cloudtop looks rather far. Ahem. Be on your guard, Demajen. The Vanu could be anywhere, even watching us as we speak. Assuming the Soleil is here, I doubt she will come to us. We should begin searching the Isles in earnest. Of course, we must remain vigilant for Vanu scouts as well. I'd rather avoid needless bloodshed. Okay, so this is the northern half of the map, which you can get a decent idea of the size of now. Where are we actually going? Take a look around. And that's Camp Cloudtop over there. You search the skies for the Soleil but see nothing resembling the missing airship. Yes, it does seem rather far away, doesn't it? Ooh. This is going to start us with a solo duty. Bum, 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 bada, bum. Hello? Anybody here? Anybody at all? Maybe this effort was doomed to failure. Begs mercy of Netherlings. Does not fight, does not wish to die. Was that a Vanu being attacked? But by who? Uh-oh. Those are Imperials. Over there. Imperial troops? Ishgardians, seize them! They'll know where the Archbishop is. We are not Ishgardians. Oh, the enemy of my enemy. We've no choice. With me, Demajen. Protect the Vanu. Cha-ching! Let's get rid of this guy first.
Thaliak, protect me!
You know, I'm sure they must have always done this shouting out in battle stuff, but I think I must have had voices turned down more before, because I honestly do not remember them doing it quite as much as they're doing now. Not that I mind. It's cool, it adds a nice level of... Really? More? Where'd they come from? Ah, this is the 6th Legion. Ah. Ooh. Really? Good job, I am a tank. Heals. There we go. Vanu. Netherlings save Vanu from certain death. Showers Netherlings with thanks like summer squall. Vanu knows not what wind bears Netherlings to cloud sea, but warmly welcomes them. Shows gratitude where gratitude is due. Vanu owes much and more to Netherlings, as saviours, as heroes. Sundu welcomes you. To village we go, to north, come, come. I'm starting to sound a little bit like Yoda. That's fine though. So, the Garleans were searching for the Archbishop and believed that the Vanu knew something of his whereabouts. Methods notwithstanding, they may have the right of it. I conclude that we should accept Vanu's offer of hospitality and visit his village. I agree, Alphino. I don't say that very often, because, you know, Alphino. No, do not want. No. Fine, I shall kill you all. We've got to the stage now where a chunk of our gear is a little bit out of date. Why do we only have a level 50 helmet still? We've not received any helmet upgrades from quests. That's because I haven't been doing the side quests. I seem to recall 57 is the level at which we have to do the next primal fights. There was still a chunk off yet. And there's a new shaped aetheryte. Look off. Wow, we've been heavied. That doesn't happen very often. Actually, how many of these do we need? Travel ether currents. Oh, we are loads short. Like breeze guides leaves to rest, come and lay down your burdens, netherlings. Lonovano throws wide arms in greeting. Behold, Oxundu. A far warmer welcome than the one you received from the Vundu, I think. Ha! Vundu bluster and blow hither and yon, sound and fury, like aimless gale. Eh? What unseen lightning begets such thunderous report? There you are! Did you see it? It's that damned flying whale again. The Imperials are after it. Where? The white. Ooh. He's wounded. No. By the 12, did the beast just eat that island? Oh, insatiable wight, oh, devourer of worlds, why must you torment us? Bah, Lonovano wastes no more words on his unfathomable deeds. Come, netherlings, come and break words with Chief of Zundu. So this is Oxundu, which is the home of the friendly Vanu, the Zundu tribe. And there are many things that we can see and do here, but that will be for another day. And by that I mean tomorrow, probably. For now, it's Toodle Pip.